So you want to sell your Yu-Gi-Oh collection. Welcome to the Solemn Yu-Gi-Oh channel where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh. So this is a question I've been seeing quite a lot. Let's say that you want to sell either a collection or your collection. Now when I talk about a collection, it's very possible that you have your modern collection of just, your decks and your trade binder and so forth, but you bought a collection from someone else and now you want to flip it for profit, let's say, or you have a collection from way back in the day and your actual other collection which you play with, and you're trying to get rid of the one from back in the day, or you are now a vintage collector, you are into the older cards, and now you want to flip basically your modern collection, which is something you can also do. So that's all of the different spectrums that we're going to try to cover in this video. But let's first talk about what can a collection actually look like. So I brought some items here, and these are the main three ways, I want to say, that we can look at collections. So first of all, we have decks. Maybe you have multiple decks, maybe you have one deck, but decks are part of your collection. This deck in particular right here is my GOAT deck. Look at this Jinzo, what a cool card. Let's see, our 1000 Dice Restrict, very cool card. That could be part of a collection you're trying to sell. Modern decks as well. Another part of a collection might be a trade binder. Maybe you have a binder with some cool modern cards right here. We have some DD Crows, wow, we have some Neo Space Connectors, just a bunch of playable cards. Maybe you have a bunch of playable cards you're trying to flip, whether modern or old or whatever. These are probably gonna be most of the stuff you're trying to sell. Most people can't get full decks sold, maybe they can get full cores sold. A core is basically all of the useful pieces of a specific deck archetype, but without the hand traps and staples like that. So very often, most of the things you're trying to sell is binders with trade stuff and single cards and so forth. The final piece of a collection might be something like graded cards. So we have this little box right here. If you're trying to buy one like these, they're in the link in the description. They're pretty nifty for trying to keep some cards in. Should also fit right into your bank's vault. So look at that. Maybe we have a Time Wizard right here. We have a Summoned Skull. We have a Monster Reborn. So maybe you have some slabs in your collection as well. So these are the three types of collection I want to say. Now there are maybe other items as well. Things we'll be discussing here will probably apply to them as well. So depending on which kind of item you're holding, your strategy will probably have to change. Now no matter what though, there's three primary ways that you can sell things. The first is going to a vendor. This means you go to someone with an actual proper company, selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and you go, hey, I want to give you this entire binder, give me money, and that's it. Your work is done. They will not give you full price, obviously, but you didn't have to spend time. You're taking on way less risk. You're probably not going to get scammed by a massive company. And it's not like, one of your more expensive cards can get lost in the mail while you're shipping hundreds of different envelopes with cards. And it's quick. It's not like it's gonna take months to get rid of this stuff. You literally go to one vendor, you go here. Now, of course, the drawback when going to one vendor is they're gonna give you anywhere between 40 and 70% of the value of your cards, depending on a variety of factors. Why is this? Well, you are essentially skipping lines, right? You don't want to spend time writing everything out, like all the addresses. You don't want to find all the buyers. You don't want to get stuck with some of the harder to move cards. You don't want to spend any of the time and take any of the risk. But these vendors or these companies do need to take on said risk. So obviously they want to be paid for that. So again, they will pay you anywhere between 40 and 70% of the market price of these. You sell them this binder, and then they will start piecing it out and selling that one by one over probably many months or even years. So that is the easiest way. And that is personally what I do with modern staples. So if I bought a bunch of modern cards and I put them in my decks and I had my fun, and now I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I want to quit with these cards and do something else, then I just sell that to a vendor. Am I getting full price? No. But is it worth my time to go and sell all of these myself on TCG Player and so forth? Absolutely not. And I know that if I don't sell them quickly, they'll get reprinted or banned and I'll lose 50% of my value anyway. But regardless, we'll go over the other steps as well, because again, depending on the type of item you have, it might be worth it. So step one, vendors. Number two, consignments. Now, I will say consignments is a very product specific type of thing. If you don't know what it is, it's essentially you are linking up with a party with a much bigger audience and you're trying to sell through them. So let's say you have a once again, let's go into this case. You have a time wizard. You can now pay a bigger company, maybe like a Probstein or maybe like a PWCC. You say, hey, sell this for me. They do all of the work and then they take a cut of that for that work. And now you've sold this. You took on less risk and you spent less time, but you got slightly less money. But, it's not as bad as going to a vendor who will, take all of your stuff, but then take a way bigger cut. However, you can't consign everything. You can't just send them like a common worth $5 and say, hey, sell this for me. Because why would they take 7% or however much percent they take of a card that's not worth anything? It's not as easy, and again, it doesn't actually happen as often in Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, PWCC and so forth, in the graded space, it does happen quite a bit. But I want to say consigning happens more in MTG and sports than in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Finally, there is selling it yourself. That means you are essentially spending all of the time it takes to actually sell these things. You are taking on the risk, in the sense that someone might scam you and things can get lost in the mail and so forth. That's all the risk on you, but you get to keep all the profits. You're no longer going through a vendor who's going to take their cut. You're no longer going through a consigner who's going to take their cut. You are just getting the full cut, except for the variety of platforms that you use to sell. Now, what are these platforms? If you are in Europe, Card Market is a pretty good platform. You list all of your cards and you just start selling them to everyone in Europe. The American equivalent for that is TCG Player. You open a TCG Player store and start selling to everyone. Now, if you are a new store, it's going to be much harder to move things than if you are a trusted store. Another good place is eBay. Once again though, if you're new, it's going to be a bit harder to move. So those are the three big platforms where you can sell like a professional. Now, the other two platforms are Instagram and Facebook groups. You can enter buy and sell Facebook groups from either your local region or country or globe where you try to sell your cards. So maybe, once again going through this, I join any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sales place and I go, oh, want to sell my Jinzo from BPT. Am I playing a BPT Jinzo in my deck? The fuck should be graded? Why did I not grade this? Oh, yeah, there's a little dent in here. I want to sell my BPT Jinzo, and I go to that platform, I try to sell it to someone, I list it on Facebook with a timestamp and so forth, and I sell this one card. Now then, I need to find a buyer first, we need to come to an agreement on price, I need to hope that they finally send me the money, then I need to write their address, go to the post office, have it shipped out, and next, I need to sell my Tsukuyomi. And you just do that for everything, obviously listing it all at once. We're not complete idiots on this channel, right? Right? So that's how you would sell yourself. You would use all of these platforms to gradually over time sell all of this stuff. All of these cards in here, all of the cards in this deck. Now, you could list a complete deck for sale and maybe that moves at around market price as well. But if you go, hey guys, on this Facebook group, here's my entire binder and this entire deck, buy it. I don't think anyone is going to buy that for full price because they would want to actually have all the cards in this and want to pay full price for all the cards in that. That is very rare. Now, there is a middle of the road here, and that is also pretty important to realize because not all of the things we discussed here are equal. Let's say that this little stack that we just spoke of, you have your few graded cards, you have your deck and your binder. So this collection right here, why would you have to sell all of this in the same place? For example, if you move this to a vendor and this vendor only gives you 50% for this Time Wizard, you feel kind of bad. Because how much is this Time Wizard worth right now? Well, I guess the last sale was 3.7, but the sale price before that was around 2.3 to 2.5, somewhere around that range. I don't even know where we put this, but let's say it's $3,000. Let's say this Time Wizard is worth $3,000. If you sell this entire collection to a vendor, and then that vendor says, well, I'm giving you, for your Time Wizard, 1,500, you're feeling kind of bad. What would be way smarter is if you sold items like this yourself. Whether it's through Instagram or Facebook or eBay, whatever place you prefer, you could get probably under market to sell this quicker, but still way above 50%. If this card consistently sells for 3,000 and then you list it for 2,500, it's gone like that. At least currently in the current graded space. So this is not the type of item that I would go sell to a vendor necessarily. Because again, even if you get 70%, you will find people paying that 70% or way more way quicker with items like these. So when you are selling a collection, selling the big bucks items through a consignor or yourself might be a better move. And then after getting rid of such items, you can move the rest to a vendor. Now, little caveat here. If your entire collection is absolute junk once you move the big items, maybe that's not a very smart strategy either. Let's say this entire binder is all commons, that are all worth 30 cents. If you get rid of all the expensive cards yourself first and then go to a vendor saying, hey, buy all this, you're not getting shit. They're going to give you just bulk. Some really, really dumb numbers. So you do have to be kind of strategical about this. You don't just want to, dump trash on vendors. There still have to be, cards in there worth their time. I'm just saying that if you have some of the bigger cards, some of the big graded cards, it's worth selling those yourself before moving the collection. A vendor will gladly get this one for 1,000 and go like, wow, yeah, I'm really helping you out here, but you just lost 1,000 or even more just for doing that. It might be worth just spending a little extra time selling that type of item yourself. So I hope that was valuable. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.